Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Money and Leadership Talks hosted by Dame Doria Cordova, who is the CEO and owner of the Excellerated Business Schools, as well as the Global Money and You programs. It's such a delight to be with you all here today as part of Money and Leadership Talks Part 2. So if you haven't seen Part 1, we highly recommend that you go on across our channels to look at Money and Leadership Talks Part 1. Dame Doria Cordova, it's phenomenal to have you here. You are a big part of the Los Angeles Tribune community, and it is a delight to know that Money and Leadership Talks is something that people want to hear more about. So Dame Doria, would love for you to share with everyone that is tuning in a little bit more about yourself, Excellerated Business Schools, as well as Money and You as we get ready for Money and Leadership Talks today.
Well, aloha, everyone, and happy New Year around the world. And thank you so much, Alicia and Morak and Ava Manuel, for having us here. And I just wanted to say that we have been doing this actually this year, 46 years. I originally inherited the work from Marshall Thurber, Bobby DePorter, and they were the people that put on the first entrepreneurial, experiential, transformational training program, and in many ways opened up that industry along with many other beautiful masters that we'll be bringing to you. And so we have been changing the lives of many people, particularly in the Asia Pacific region. And we now have over 200,000 graduates. My Chinese partner, Wilson Lin, says that we have lost count, that there's many more than that. But just to be conservative, over 200,000 graduates from over 85 countries. Probably more than that too. One of these days, I'm going to sit down and really go through all the countries. It's probably more than 100, but right now we'll stick with that number, and in 6 different languages. So what we like to do, and this is the second time that we're doing this, the first time we did this program back in April of May, it was so well received. And what I like to do is I like to ask all of you that if you are in Facebook or you have other ways of being able to share this to your own sites, all of you, including all of my guests, and you'll have an opportunity to be able to make a difference to people's lives because it will be on your own stream, and people will be learning not only from you, but from all these different people. So this is the core of Money and You, the core of our business school for entrepreneurs and all the other accelerated program is not only the teaching of leverage, which we do through technology, but also collaboration and having an impact worldwide and really connecting to different people from different countries. So do participate. You can go to the Los Angeles Tribune on Facebook or wherever you are watching us, and share in their place for comments and connect with people. You will see that there will be people that will be similar to you. And the more you share, the more that we will enjoy you and get to know you. So why don't we just go ahead and bring up the guests that we have for our first session? And let's go ahead and just bring them all up. And thank you so much. And here we have Kitty Chang, who is one of our co-presenters and has been working with us for many, many years and co-presents the program. The leading instructor is Carrie Zurier, but we have a team that supports. And then we have one of our mentors, one of my mentors from the time I was 27 years old. We started out when we were 5, right, Marsha? And so we have Marsha Martin, who is joining us. She's also a dame. Of course, we had to knight her. That's a whole other conversation. Then we have our beautiful OG, Harrison Klein. And thank you so much for being here, our only male with all these roses. And they will introduce themselves. And then we have Dr. Laura. And Dr. Laura is this beautiful doctor who has the most beautiful heart and is really, in many ways, a transformational leader because of the industry that not only that she is in, but her beautiful heart and her breakthrough, medical practice that she has. So what I'd like to do right now is I'm going to start with the person that has made the biggest impact on me. And I'm writing the Money and You book. And in there, I quote, of course, my beautiful Dame Marsha Martin. And when she taught me in life, you either have reasons why you didn't create what you wanted to create, or you have the results that speak for themselves. And even though she may not have been the original person that created that quote, in my consciousness, when I was 27 years old, that has been such a guide for me. So what I like to do is I would like to bring forth our beautiful Marsha Martin to talk about leadership and how it relates also to money. And for those of you who are just hanging out with us, if you could put yourself on mute, because I hear a little echo. So if you also have this on a phone, please take it off the phone. It will create an echo. So there is an echo happening. So if you have the same program on your phone or somewhere else, please take that off. Thank you. So Marsha, go ahead and just spend a few minutes with us talking about leadership and money. There you go. You have a few minutes to go into one of the biggest subjects in the world.
Doria, thank you so much. And as you know, Doria, I have a very unusual and kind of unique story, which begins with our beautiful friend and the original founder of where all of the Money and You programs came from, which was Marshall Thurber and his partner, Bobby DePorter. And Marshall was a student of mine when I was the vice president of EST, which is now called the Landmark Forum. And Marshall told me that he was going to take everything I taught him and create a training for people that would accelerate their learning. And he was going to make millions of dollars. And that's exactly what he did. And what's interesting for me in terms of leadership is that I was a leader to him. And then he became a leader to me because I helped him design the Berkman Business School. And then that business school kind of evolved and ultimately became the Money and You programs. And then I took Money and You, and then there was Marshall teaching me. So that's how leadership works. It's kind of like the power formula. If you want to be powerful in life, make someone else powerful. And if you notice that they take that power and make you powerful, then keep making them powerful. And that's the secret of leadership and power, is that you give it away. And what I loved about Money and You is it takes all of the concepts of leadership that also are about money, but they're also about health. They're also about well-being. They're also about success. They're also about relationships. They're also about communication. And they're the principles that are the foundation of your success. And you learn those particular principles in Money and You. And I now teach many leaders around the world. I've personally trained over 300,000 people myself, and I work in large corporations with senior executives on the subject of leadership. And I take the principles that I learned in Money and You, like win-win, or collaboration, or context is everything. And I break down silos. I go into these organizations and I find that they're not really working together and they don't understand the principles of leadership. They think that it's all about one person, me, when it's really about we. So I just am so grateful. I've gotten so much from Money and You. And Doria, you're one of my favorite people in the universe. And I totally enjoy all of our years together, and that I've had the honor to be able to contribute to you personally as well.
Thank you so much, Marcia. And stick around if you can. We have really busy people here, and we're going to have an after party. So if you don't get to say everything after 6:30, you can come back 6:30 California time. All right. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to Kitty Chang. Hello, Kitty, all the way from Malaysia. Are you in Malaysia right now?
Yes, in Malaysia, we say selamat pagi, which is good morning. It's morning here right now.
Thank you. Well, you have an opportunity not only to co-present Money and You, but you are a leader in your own right. And of course, because you've been around us, I think now it's going to be almost 20 years. I remember you doing the school way back in the day. And I saw you blossom into this beautiful leader and around the space. So what would you like to share with the audience as a young leader, as an entrepreneur that has really moved on from corporate into an entrepreneurial world? What would you like to share about entrepreneurship and about leadership and money?
Thank you, Dame Dora. Good morning. My name is Kitty. Oh, wait, good afternoon over in California, right? Um, well, I did my Money and You, yes, way back in the years 2006, and I was only in my early 20s. Now, being a young girl, I have no clue what business is about. I have no experience. I just simply don't know, right? And when I attended Money and You, I'm gonna be very open and honest about this. I was confused for a moment. And one of the beautiful thing about Money and You, it is a continuous support, a community of continuous support. So we can go back, keep going back, learn, network, meet masters, mentors who's gonna teach us things. And one of the great decision that I love that I made till today is that I decided to go back. And because of that, from a clueless young girl, I learned what business really is about. It's about adding value. It's not about money. I know many people would set up businesses with the first aim of money, making money. And I learned it the hard way. I have many failed businesses in the past. I learned it the hard way that it is not about money. It is about the people. It's about adding value. It is about playing a game where it is going to change our life and other people's lives. And along the journey, leadership is another challenge for me. I used to think leadership is about control, command and control, and it created a lot of unpleasant team experience. And because of learning from that, I realized that leadership, it's a lot about collaboration. It's a lot about the team. And to me, leadership is never really about the leader itself. It is really about the people and where they want to go and how we can support them as a leader to where they want to be. And honest truth, one of the biggest gift that I've gotten from Money and You. It's not just in money and entrepreneurship, it's also about finding who I am as a leader, who I am as an entrepreneur, and what's my life purpose, what's my strive to the day that I stop breathing. And I want to thank Dame Doria for sharing such a profound and beautiful gift to the world. And I will continue to do this work, holding the torch for this work, because I truly, truly believe that it is time for us to move into a win-win world, like Marsha said, right? Collaborative leadership, and to make the world work for all of us. So thank you, Dame Doria.
Thank you, thank you. You know, and one of the things I really love about Kitty, when she begins to teach, I always tell people that she speaks 4 different languages. You know, like somebody one time just said something like, "Well, it would be really good if she just kind of like had." I guess they wanted her to have an American accent, and I said, "Okay, do you speak 3 languages, 4 languages?" It's like people are not used to it. You know, when you speak that many languages, you kind of like pick up. And she speaks some really tough languages like Chinese and Bahasa, and then there's one more I'm forgetting, but English. And so thank you so much, Harrison Klein. And for those of you who, when you're not speaking again, we just need you to be in silence. Thank you. So Harrison Klein, I know you are an OG. You've been around for a long time. And so what would you say about money, leadership? And I know that money and you also made a big difference to you, but what would you like to share with this worldwide audience? This will be seen by many people for a long time. Thank you. Go ahead, Harrison.
Well, to start off with, Doria, what Money and You taught me was to redo traditional metrics of success. It was a complete revolution in a number of different things. I learned from Money and You that money is a tool, not a goal. That money is very important in that it's a seamless integration. And what I learned from Money and You is that it's a seamless integration of financial acumen, and emotional intelligence, basically. And so these are the things that made a difference in my business. I was a pioneer in the telesummit industry, the first, second, or third person to have a telesummit back in 2004 or something like that. And I now have multiple businesses, including Instruct and Inspire Publishing. And I'm in the movie business at this particular point as well. We have 5 different movies, feature films that we're doing. And Money and You provided a resource for self-awareness that allowed my understanding of motivations and biases, and it helped me to align my core values to authenticity, purpose, and being purpose-driven. So, the thing about Money and You and leadership basically is that it taught me principles that I hadn't known before. It taught me the principles of budgeting and saving and debt management and financial literacy and risk management and the value of time and a number of other different kinds of things that were very super important to, the growth of a business. So, we have come to the understanding of adaptability. And I think the future of business right now has a lot to do, lies in this seamless integration that I was just mentioning. And that, the greats that are out there, everything from Richard Branson to Elon Musk to all those people, have an emphasis on love and joy. And that's what I'm about. So they have an emphasis on love and joy and money put together in a way that is integrated and, creates identity for the people that are in. So identity is self-awareness, and self-awareness is the ability of wisdom to be impactful in a wonderful way. So we're talking about some, really things that are purpose-driven and decision-making and integrity and accountability. And all those things came when I first encountered Money and You. Now, Doria, I met you back in 2000 when? I don't know, 10, 11, maybe even earlier than that. And I've had nothing but beauty and connection with you for the whole time. And you have been an amazing influence in all the people and all the things that I kind of get involved with, somewhere on the fringes of everything. Either I'm on the fringe or you're on the fringe, but there's somewhere that we integrate in most everything that we do. I know that you just appeared in, were just interviewed in the Frequency of Miracles, as I was, and that was a really good experience for me. So, we want to make sure that the trust that is built through Money and You comes from the understanding of an inspired vision. And you gave me an inspired vision at an early point in my life. So that was very beautiful. So it's all collaboration, it's all respect, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the people here. And I know Marcia too, and I love Marcia. She's amazing. So it's all good. I don't know the other ones, but I like you all. I love you all. Thank you.
Harrison, thank you so much. And we're going to move to Dr. Lara here for a minute, but I just wanted to say you're so understated right now. One of the things about you is your intelligence. Oh my goodness, just the way that you connect, and you have this beautiful sharings. I mean, I really want everyone listening around the world that you follow all these beautiful people, that you learn from them. They all have such beautiful things to share with you. And Harrison has been around for a long time. So one of the things that you see him going, he is going with whatever is happening in the world, so to speak. It's like, so films are a great way to leverage one of the biggest keys that we teach, the biggest distinction in Money and You. So he has been doing films for a while, but he's really focusing on that right now. And then also one of the key things is the connections that we make through the Money and You program and through the global network, and the connections that the people that they have. So we're much wealthier right now from just being with each other because we are connecting to each other. And I want to encourage all the speakers, all the people who are in the back, to please also contribute on the comments, because this will be seen. You want worldwide exposure, you want to be seen by the world, put comments on there and they will be pulled up. So thank you so much. So with that, Dr. Lara, I know that you are not a transformational leader like the way the rest of us are, but you are a leader in your industry. You are a Money and You graduate. What say you about money, leadership, and being a doctor? Thank you. Let me see. There you go.
Okay. We did not learn anything in medical school about business. In fact, we were protected in residency from being able to talk to anyone that had anything to do with business, because in that time, in 1995, when I finished residency, we were not admitting that medicine was business. I now admit that it is a big business. It's become really, really corporate. So I had to take a transition in my time to realize that I had to do things like marketing and things like collaborating and partnerships. And going to Money and You, when we went to that, it showed me a couple of things. It showed me that leadership came first, and then financial outcome would come. A leadership actually determines financial outcome if you're a good leader. It also taught me to face my own problems and my own mindset with poverty mindset. And that, to me, I think, was the biggest eye opener for me. And to change that and to recognize that this wasn't about how I felt so much about money as it was how I felt about myself as a leader, and having purpose and knowing that I wanted to help others. And as a doctor, that was my whole goal. It never had been money. It had always been, I'm being a doctor because I want to help and serve others. And so now, after the workshop, it was more an idea of, I can make money and I can do this and still help others. And for me, it was a real marriage of those two thoughts and philosophies, and it was something that hadn't come together in me before. And so I recognized that money reflects your leadership. And as a woman, as a minority woman, Latina, in my community, it was something that I had to overcome those hurdles to be able to become successful. But in recognizing that, I've been able to by empowering myself as a role model, I've been able to empower women in my community and go on and help women all together to empower themselves and recognize that they too can feel worthy and deserving and get what they want in life. So it had a big ripple effect for me.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you brought that up in regards to professionals, because so many professionals need to have entrepreneurial education. And Buckminster Fuller's biggest peeve was he used to say, why do they separate business? Why do they have this thing called business schools when every university, every child, every student should really be taught at least the basics, right? So, where it's time for us to go to our next batch of people. And I want to thank all of you for taking a valuable time out of your life to come and
Thank
hang out.
you.
Yeah, please hang out with us in Facebook. You can go to the Los Angeles Tribune page and just kind of and let people know about yourself too, and have the ability to be able to connect with all the different beautiful people. And thank you for your time, your energy, and we have a Money and You coming up in 2 weeks. Okay,
December.
so it's January 15th to the 18th in San Diego at the Vision Center, and we'd love to have you with us anytime. You have a lifetime membership to come back and review, but you know that as soon as you walk in the door, I'm going to put you to work, right? Thank you, everyone. Aloha.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
So,
Alicia will come in now.
Hello, Dame Doria. Wow, it is so phenomenal to hear from Money and You grads. For those of you that are tuning in, you're here at Money and Leadership Talks hosted by Dame Doria Cordova. She is the CEO and owner of the Money and You program and the Accelerated Business Schools. Money and You has touched over 200,000 graduates around the world and has such a significant presence in Asia, in Malaysia. There are grads such as Ken Honda, Mark Victor Hansen, Sharon Lecter, Robert Kiyosaki, Forbes Riley have all come through the Money and You program, Tony Robbins. And today you're in for such a special treat because, as you may have heard in the previous segment, and as you will continue to hear, there are Money and You grads that join Money and You from a number of different industries. And it is just as much about money as it is about your own personal journey to discover where your blockage is, what are areas that you can enhance. So what are the things that you're doing maybe subconsciously that you don't even recognize or understand, maybe impacting you from the inside out, but it's impacting your business? Dame Doria, I'm going to ask you as we get ready for the next segment to please share the story of one of your Money and You grads that was a successful individual whose business was making millions of dollars, but he was trying to scale and he was having challenges and he was bringing in all of these consultants from around the world to help him with his business, but it wasn't moving the impact that he was looking to have despite the millions he was spending on consultants to kind of enhance his business, and what he discovered with Money and You. And then we'll transition to our next guest.
Oh, that was that beautiful Mr. Lee. That is not really his name. It's so hard to pronounce. I asked him, he speaks English. I said, can I just call you Mr. Lee? He says, okay. And he's actually a billionaire, a very wealthy man who took us, the first person to really take us to China. And he attended Money and You and pretty much was having all these challenges in his company. And so he paid the New York consultants. They came in and they couldn't figure out what the problem was. Then he figured, because they were Americans, couldn't really understand the Chinese mindset, he decided to spend millions with consultants in Hong Kong. And they weren't able to help him either. I mean, it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Even though he was so successful, but he was having all these management problems and, couldn't get these people from, taking things from him, like all the basics that people have in business. And then finally, one of his billionaire friends said, you should attend this program called Money and You. He says, I speak English. I know what money means and I know what you is. I really don't have any problems with money. He said, no, you better go to Money and You. And so he attended Money and You. And there's this one time when the participants are free to share. They never have to speak up, only if they want to. And then Mr. Lee got up and he tells the story about all the consultants, and he says, but in Money and You, I found out what the real problem was, and it was me. I was the problem. I finally got what Money and You meant. He says, and as soon as I saw what was happening with me and the things that I was blocking and interfering and just he was just like without realizing, because obviously he wanted it to work, but there were such unconscious patterns and beliefs and the way that he had been trained thinking that once you're that rich, you're that successful, that you'll know it all. And he absolutely loved the program and supported us in launching in China, which I can't even begin to tell you the difference that we have made in China itself, along with many other countries. But there were so many people that understood that they had already within themselves the ability to be able to really make a difference, not only in their own families, their own business, but also to the community. So I know you love that story. So with that, let's bring in the next batch of beautiful people. Who do we have? There you are, Kamal. How are you? Anne Landstrom, beautiful photographer. Oh, Dr. James Dentley and Chris Salter and Paul Schumann. All right, we'll have Chris Menzel come in the next batch, right? It's going to be Chris Menzel, so we have this many. So, aloha, everyone. So good to see you. And we snuck in a non-Money and You graduate. Why, Dr. James Dentley? He is going to be on a cruise. He's leaving in just a few days' time and couldn't make the one for January. And he has wanted to attend many times. So he's definitely coming to the one in June. But he's so supportive of me and of the work on our vision. And he's so in alignment with us. So we'll go ahead and have him start on the subject of money, leadership, and what you would like to share with our worldwide network of not only graduates, but many friends that will be seeing this. So, Dr. James Dentley, what say you?
Well, first of all, I'm very honored and humbled and excited to even be here with you. I have such respect, and I'm such a great fan and a student from afar of your incredible work and the legacy that you've created, not just in this program, but how you show up as a human being, to be able to witness you in the philanthropic, even areas, especially when we were on a cruise once before during the season of COVID. And everyone was cowering away, but you came prepared to make a difference in the lives of people. So when I look at Money and You, the young lady spoke about this just earlier. It's not just money, it's really about you. It's really about you, because that frequency that we operate on, that we will attract, and we will be the light frequencies will be revealed, because we don't really have to attract something that's really already there. You know, I really believe in the laws of awareness, that you wake up and say, okay, everything I've always needed, I've always had it. It's just like the movie The Wizard of Oz. Everything you've ever needed, you always had it inside. I am excited to promote this to my entire community, even though I haven't gone, because success leaves clues. And I truly believe that I know for a fact, I've never seen a candle go out while I was lighting another candle. I believe that you keep what you have by giving it away. And I believe that money will go where it's invited and it will stay where it's welcome. When you have alignment with the frequency and alignment with source and your life and the universe itself, then all things open up to you. And when I talk to people about money goes where it's invited, well, when things are invited or someone is invited into your home, then you are in preparation to receive it. That means you're acting accordingly. You don't wait till the last moment. When someone is invited, they just didn't ring the bell. You're expecting them to show up. So then you clean up your home, or you prepare your home, or you prepare whatever's needed to make that guest comfortable. Money goes where it's invited. You know, it's about what you expect. And that determines of how you're postured, your frequency, your energy. And when you're tuned in that perfect FM station, AM won't even exist anymore. It stays where it's welcome. My wife is a double scientist and a physicist, and she taught me about Tobler's Law. Tobler's Law says that things that are alike are closer together than things that are not alike. If they're similar in nature, if they complement each other, they're always going to be closer. because not even a bad person stays in the right environment, nor would a good person stay in a bad environment. It goes with things that are like itself. Now, things can stop by, but they never stay. Money stays where it's welcome. And I believe that when you have the energy and the frequency that allows you to be fully self-expressed with love, to be able not only to live life, but to experience life, that's what it's really all about. Because everything I've ever needed, if I wake up, all the resources are always around me. So I'm looking forward to going to Money and You to go a little deeper as I ski over this to deep sea dive a little bit deeper and to get a clearer understanding about the philosophies of how the universe works and how it works in terms of helping us uplift our lives to the next level. Because I really believe that our success is someone else's miracle. Somebody's waiting for that example. They're waiting for their story. They're waiting for our breakthrough as we give people permission to pursue their breakthrough, pursue their greatness, pursue their path, purpose, and vision, and make a difference in this world and become a contributor, because I believe everything in life contributes back to life. So I'm really thankful to be here. I'm promoting this. I congratulate and celebrate each and every one of you who are graduates already. And I'm looking forward to getting a chance to meet you, to collaborate with you, and build incredible relationships as we impact the world together.
Thank you so much, Dr. James Dentley. And by the way, this man, he could teach Money and You and the business school tomorrow, because the level of leverage, the level of leadership. So right now, somebody could be saying, oh my God, he's just talking about these things that, make you feel good. And he's talking about me, and he's talking about mindset. He's talking about spiritual things. The results that Dr. Dentley has created in life will kind of give you a very big hint. Like we were talking with Marsha earlier, you either have reasons for not creating what you wanted to create, or you have the results that speak for themselves. So, the leadership that you have. And Dr. Dentley, we kind of been having switcheries. I'm looking here. Chris Salter was supposed to be later, but my other Chris will come in later. Another person was supposed to be later, and they're coming in later. So we are around 6:30, 6:45. If you're around, we're going to have like an after party. So if you'd like to come back and share some more, we love to hear more of your teaching. So with that, what we're going to do, thank you so much for being here and your love and support. So we're going to go to the person that I have known the longest in the group. Actually, no. I think I met Chris Salter and Paul Schumann at about the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Chris Salter for now, because he's a business school instructor. And so Chris, you have built organizations, you teach for us, that you inherited the work of Randy Kraft that has to do with planning. And so what say you about leadership, money? What would you like to share?
Well, I think I'm a little bit close. One of the reasons I went to Money and You was and through Randy and you, was the teachings of Bucky Fuller. And Bucky was not the kind of, command and control leader. He was a, where can I fit in? Where can I help leader, right? And his metaphor of the trim top, the little tiny rudder on the bigger rudder that ends up steering the whole boat, that really appeals to me. And that I saw really these games that they have, these experiential games at Money and You, they really tap into we're very competitive. We might, we want to win. We're having a lot of fun. And a lot of the reactions about money tend to be very subconscious, as you said, even reactive, right? If we've had, any kind of scarcity in our lives, who hasn't, I think at some point, this kind of comes out in weird ways. And these games aren't always about money, but it always is that scarcity button that can be very reactive, and we don't always reflect on it. We don't have a way to reflect on it. But when you're in this environment, there's all these other people around you also reflecting on it, and it becomes, you get very surprised by your reactions, by the reactions of people around you, and then the mentors like Carrie and the others that you have there really take that whole experience apart and do a dissection that's brilliant. And you're like, oh my God. So I'm going to staff this time and be on the support team. And I can't wait. My son is coming, and I'm just going to watch his brain just like pop like a piece of popcorn, every couple of hours. Just like, wow. And that's really fun. I described it as like hosting a wedding. Like, it's kind of exhausting, but you have all this great energy there. And that's just, for me, the leadership emerges because people see gaps and they step in. That to me is, you're in a situation and there's a gap and you step in. It's almost like that puzzle that has 15 like little chiclets or whatever, they move around, and you've got one empty space. The leader that I find most effective is the empty space, right? He sees there's an empty space and he fills it, and he moves things around, because he's not in there for himself. He's in there for the benefit of the others. That's how we win-win. So I'm very excited to go again, and it's been a long time. And then knowing behind that is another even deeper program of Accelerated Business School, which we didn't know. When I first went, I just got that little taste of 3 or 4 days, but it opened up so much in my brain that I was like, well, what's this other thing, right? And Randy, of course, was like saying, you just got to go, right? And that's the truest, maybe most frustrating part for you. That we can talk, but you got to go. And then it really moves you and shapes you and helps you unlock a lot of subconscious stuff that isn't serving you anymore. And so that's a beautiful thing that I've found through these experiences. And I can't wait to see anyone who's coming. It's a joy.
Oh, and the food, it's going to be so good. You guys, we have the best food. Kamal is going to be giving us a gift. We have some Indian food coming. Then there's another participant, and they do this super shakes, and they want to contribute it to the group. And I said, well, how many do you want to share? She goes, as many as you want. And I said, like for breakfast? And she goes, yeah, for breakfast. I said, well, sometimes people lose their energy in the afternoon. How about the afternoon? She goes, yeah, we can do the afternoon. And I'm like, oh my God, we have the most beautiful food. 3 months ago, I asked the Great Spirit, I want the best food ever at this Money and You in America. And so here we are. We have some masters that are bringing goodies. And by the way, I just want to really thank all of you for being here, with us. We don't have a dead stop at 6 o'clock because we have a little bit of an opening towards the end. And so, no need, you don't have to rush in your sharing. But what I'd like to do is, I also Chris Salter brought something up that was very interesting, is that sometimes we don't make it as clear in the United States as we do in other parts of the world, that we have a whole curriculum. So Money and You is like our signature program. That's the big one. That's the one where people just kind of like go through this huge opening and transformation. But we also have a business school for entrepreneurs that's 8 days long, and people come for 10 days. That's part of the curriculum, because then they can start hanging out with people. But many people stay for like, because like this year we'll be going to Thailand, to Phuket, to one of the most gorgeous venues, so people can stay at a very much lower price than usual, either at midnight. Can you all mute yourselves, please, when you're not on screen? Thank you. And so then you have this beautiful venue, and then we have a program called Powerful Presentations, which is 3 days long, which is for people to present and to be able to just show up as they never have before. We have a program called the Instructors Training Program for people that want to train either to lead the Money and You program, or they want to go ahead and lead their own programs and train how to do it. People like Harv Eker, he was in our Instructors Training Program. Brad Sugars of Action Coach was part of it, aside from some of the other big famous names. That's where they really learn how to train. And then we have other programs that are like my Distinctions program, Home Study program, and we have the Evolve program. We have quite a few. So it's a whole curriculum, but we're opening up North America, right? So then people are going to learn all about all the other ones. So with that, we'll go to another one of the OGs in our organization, which is Paul Schumann. And by the way, again, thank you for staying mute when you're not on speaking. And remember that you can put this replay, all of you that are watching, on your own Facebook page or the different ways, because people appreciate it when you give them free education. And even though we are talking about money and you more than usual, we are giving you an opportunity to meet these beautiful masters that have put the principles of money and you to work in their lives that you can learn from. So with that, Paul Schumann, what say you?
Boy, what say me? How can I say this, Doria? I mean, when I first met you 22 years ago, when I first took Money and You, it was under unusual circumstances. And I really didn't understand what Money and You was. I was sort of thrown into the game. But, you know, even though my life was doing okay, what I realized is that through the Money and You program, actually playing the games live, not sitting in audiences like I did with so many of the great speakers out there and listening to what they had to say and trying to absorb it, I became part of the game. And when you actually play the game with other people and you don't know the outcome, it's kind of like playing poker in Las Vegas. You don't know what the other hand has and you don't know how they're going to play it. So all you can do is be the best you can be and learn what works and what doesn't work within your own life. Money and You, to me, is about learning about yourself. I learned about me experiencing other people in the games that we played. And Bucky's distinctions about how things work in life, I had never experienced in that kind of a way. I've always been successful in negotiations and working with people, but there was a whole different level when in Money and You. It was like all of a sudden I had to access parts of my heart, my soul, and my brain simultaneously to work these games to make them understandable to me, not necessarily to anybody else. This was all about a growth pattern that I went through. And I'll tell you, because I had to go through that, and Doria brought me into this because of things that were happening in Asia. And I had to learn her principles. And when I understood Bucky's principles matched her principles, and the number one thing that stuck with me, and I think more than anything, even over responsibility and the rest of it, was integrity. For me, when I look at businesses and I look at people, I try and determine what their level of integrity is. Are they being true to themselves? Are they being true to their business? Are they being true to their clients? Are they being true to their family? Are they being true to themselves? And I look at people, I don't judge them. I just look at them and try to understand, how am I going to interact with them so it's a win-win? How do I understand the game of life? Because I played it so many different ways in my life. I've been up and down a few times. I've been poor, and I've been a mega millionaire, and I've been poor, and I'm coming back into life to being a mega millionaire again. It's just a game. But what you learn from the experience in Money and You is nothing you can learn in a lecture. It's nothing you can read in a book. And that's what really got me about it, is I had to be a part of it. I had to actually understand what I was doing for my part in the game and make sure that it fit with everybody else's part so that we could win the game, not as an individual, but as a collective. And that was the one strong thing that I really learned about Money and You, is that we can win more if we cooperate as a collective person than we can as an individual. Like they say, if you want to run fast, go by yourself. If you want to go further, go as a group. And I noticed that Money and You is probably one of my more special groups in the world. I have come back to it probably over 30 times over the last 22 years as a volunteer in the back. Why? Because every time I step back into that room, whatever I'm doing, I am hearing Carrie, and I am hearing the participants and how they're reacting. It's the same but different. And it's that humanity that comes out that keeps reminding me about my humanity. And all I can say is that if you want to experience something that will change your life in a way that there's no book that could ever do it, there's no seminar that could ever do it, Money and You is a program that I believe is the basis of any other program you ever want to go to. Literally, it gives you the fundamentals of life. It gives you the fundamentals of understanding how other people react and how you can be a benefit to them and they can be a benefit to you. All I can say is, in all the years I've been there, I have learned more about myself than probably any other program I've been to. And let me tell you, I've been to a lot of them. I spent a lot of money on a lot of programs, but I think the one that struck me the deepest was Money and You. And yes, I went to the business school, and that's a whole different level of reality. You want to step up in life, you want to expand your business to levels that you don't understand, go to the business school. When I got out of the business school in 2006, my income went up. And all I can say is, thank you, Doria.
Thank you.
Amazing ride in my life.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Now, you guys are not supposed to just talk about Money and You. I really appreciate it. But one of the things that Paul is actually such a leader, and he is one of the best debt managers, one of the people that can help you reduce the most in anything that's related to finances. He is actually also a Santa Claus every December. So make sure, Paul, that you go to the Los Angeles Tribune, to the main page, and put information about yourself there so people get to know you. You're being so loving. I also want you guys to talk about your business, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go to the beautiful female, Ann Landstrom, who is a world-class photographer. And I'm waiting for the last pictures that you took.
They're coming, Doria. They're coming. It's been the holidays.
I know. I don't expect people to take off and without having done my pictures. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
They'll be waiting on the U3 soon.
So I was going to ask you, tell us about money and leadership for you. You know, it's like you are a photographer, you are an artist, and you teach other photographers. A lot of times people don't understand how artists like yourself leverage yourself. So share about that.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your platform and the Los Angeles Tribune. I appreciate all of you, and happy holidays. So for me, being an artist, I never saw myself neither as a leader or did I understand business. A lot of artists are great at their art, but they're not very great at creating a business. So for me, going into Money and You was like to put my big girl pants on and really have to learn, like, how can I make money in what I love and what's my passion is about. And I think that is a lot of people, not only in the art industry, but in any industry, you're passionate, hopefully, of what you do. And then, okay, now how am I going to build a business around this so I can make money? And I learned a lot in Money and You. And again, somebody else said the you part is, I'm so sorry. Hey, I am watching.
We love your dog. We love your dog.
I'm watching my son's puppy. Let me get rid of the squeaky toy. Just 1 second. I when I went through the program, not only did I learn a lot about money and myself, but also how we interact with other people in the games that are being played in Money and You, and how the games actually show up in all aspects of your life as a business owner, and how you show up for people and how people show up for you. And the games are not just games. That's actually how a lot of people show up later, after Money and You. So both in the positive and negative waves. And also another thing that in Money and You, it's about networking and the people that are coming from all over the world to Money and You, and who you get to know. You never know who's in the room. I strongly believe that this is not only just about money; it's also about a transformational experience as a person going through the program, and that you could come back over and over again once you've gone through it. And when you come back the second time, you hear different things than you heard the first time. And I'm sure the third and the fourth, I've been back, I think, once or twice after the first time, and you pick up new things that you didn't hear the first time you were there. So for me, it's been a great experience, and also been able to get to know Doria and Chris closer, and been able to do Doria's branding. And for me, the one thing, I just wrote some notes here, is like the leadership. Like, I never saw myself as a leader, and what is a leader for me? Well, a leader for me is somebody that shows up with being authentic and walks the walk. And you are the same person that when you're not in the room. So whatever people are talking about you when you're in the room, you're the same person when you're not in the room. To me, that's a leader. Like, you're totally authentic, and integrity is one of my love languages, and always walk with integrity. So I think that's and karma is always going to come by and back and bite you in the neck. I truly believe in karma. And for me, another thing is being a woman. I see a lot of women in my studio that have problems with their businesses. They don't know where to start. Mo is hi, Mo. Where to start. And sometimes I feel like I'm more of a therapist than I am a photographer. It's when people go to a hairdresser, they dump everything in the hairdresser's lap. When I have them in the studio, whether there's branding or boudoir, I get to hear everything. And I realize now, as a business owner, and I've been now addicted to learning about business, how much I know. And when you have people that don't know what they don't know, and how much you can share. So in that way, I guess I am a leader now, because I've invested back so much into myself in different programs like Money and You. And now I see that the photography industry is really going to have a hard hit going forward with AI and artificial intelligence. In the last 2 years, I've been spending a lot of time studying AI. And now going forward, my goal is to help particularly women transform their businesses with the new technology and AI, because it's not as scary as a lot of people think. It's really an art form in itself. You just have to, like anything, build the muscle and learn, or from help like me now, being an expert in AI, help people do the transition to the new technology in the world. So I think the last thing I wanted to say is, with Buckminster Fuller's, is it only takes one person to make a difference. So be that person. You're muted, Doria.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
I
for having
so
me.
appreciate everything you said. And Kamal, you are on. You got a good 6 minutes to share everything about business and about. And thank you so much about leadership and money. What say you, Kamal?
What say I? What say I is, First of all, Money and You was transformational. I've done so many programs like so many of the other people here, and I'm bringing a whole bunch to the next session. And the reason I'm bringing them, they keep asking me, why are you saying this? I said, it literally is the most transformational thing I've done. They're like, oh, you've done everything. I said, well, not everything, but yeah, a lot. But this is something you have to experience. As you said, when we were in the training, it's hard to explain what it is, but what it is has, again, money and you. I remember playing one of the games and it became so late at night, and the game was the game. Yet what was happening with the interpersonal dynamics between us was what was breaking people down into looking so deeply within how they interacted with each other, how they interacted with themselves. And I remember my partner that was there that night didn't like me at all, probably wanted to out of the room. And then the next morning, it was fabulous. The amount of breakthroughs that she had. I remember watching her walk onto the stage and just being in awe at the transformation that she experienced. And it was as a result of going deep within and understanding how money, or the energy of money, relates to you. And procession, the law of procession, how when you're going towards something, right? Every little thing that you're pollinating on the path happens. And so what do? Well, I shifted from building large scale businesses into being the path of a spiritpreneur. So what does that mean? It means that everything is about impact. Everything is about what you do and how it changes other people. So as a servant leader, I know these are all terms that I'm just throwing out, but that truly is how I look at it. I am the servant to all the people that are in the company. I am the servant to the people that we serve outside. It doesn't matter how much money I have. It doesn't matter how big the company is. It's about making a difference, because that's what's meaningful. That's what's meaningful for me, because everything I do makes a difference for someone else, which radiates back within me. So Money and You gave me so much of an understanding, which is why I'm coming back to volunteer, because I want to go back and I want to go deeper again. Each game, somebody else said this earlier, is a reflection of how you show up, not only daily, but how you show up as people talk about you, how you show up in the way that you perform with your team, and how we show up. We've traveled around the world meeting elders and leaders and shaman and priests and Sufis and business leaders running huge companies. And they always ask me the same question. Why are you doing this? You have this one other company that does this and makes a bunch of money. Why are you doing this? I said, you don't get it. It's about being the difference, being the change. And I don't think there's one thing I can say beyond that. As much as I can go within and I can say, yes, this feels good. Yes, I am actually doing something to make a difference. And because of that, I'm receiving in abundance. And that's one of the greatest lessons I've learned. So there's a lot you can say, but I think it's simple. And it really is. The more you give, the more you receive.
That is your tip for being a leader, right? And thank you for being so generous with the food that you're going to bring. Very
Absolutely.
quickly, what is exactly the name of my favorite meal that you're bringing? I always forget.
Khichdi. Khichdi. So it's
Yes.
the Indian risotto.
It's the Indian risotto. That is correct. So we're going to have that for a dinner, right? And we'll talk some more.
And it's blessed.
And it's blessed. It's going to be so beautiful, you guys. For some reason, we also have this wonderful Indian restaurant owner that Mo Rock, who's the leader of this platform, introduced me to, and he cannot make it, but he's going to make some special food for me to be able to provide for all of you. So so far, this is like the best food, Money and You yet. So graduates from around the world, coming down in less than 2 weeks. Come and hang out with us. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. I have so many wonderful things to say about all of you. And make sure that you go to the Los Angeles Tribune Facebook page and then keep sharing. We're going to have another group coming in, and we have a little surprise towards at the end there. So thank you so much. We love you. Go and talk about yourselves in there. All right. Thank you so much. And I believe that my beautiful Ava is going to be working with me now, right? Ava, you are here with me, and you're going to be bringing up the next group of people. And we can take a little longer because this is a little bigger group. So let's go ahead and bring them up, Ava. Thank you. Dr. Jody Bear and my beloved Chris Menzel. All right, here we go. Oh, and we have Jackie and Shockley and Dame Sandra Biscine and Carol Hodges. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we need everyone to be muted. We want you to take off anything that is a second phone. If you got the phone, you know that you got this going on, turn it off now because we will have an echo. All right. For some reason, it picks it up. So turn off the phones for if you're going to have this. So we're going to go ahead and have Dame Sandra Biscine because she's caring for her beautiful beloved. And she's kind of like, we would like for her to give a little talk to us about money, leadership, what you have learned, and then that will give you an opportunity for you to go ahead and go back with your sweetie and take care of him, give him all of our love. So, Sandra, what say you about this topic? Thank you. I think you're on mute.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll go ahead and feature her. Ava, I think whoever's handling in the back will feature her for a few minutes. Can that be done? I have no control. So thank you so much. If we can just feature her, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Take us off. Thank you. Go ahead, Sandra.
Doria, I was just saying that honestly, I just feel quite emotional. I've been listening to everybody speak for the last hour. And honestly, when you hear leaders of this incredible caliber talking and a little bit about their life and what they do, but a lot about this program. I think everybody out there and everybody watching this is just going to realize that this is not just another program. Money in You is an experience. And I started in business when I was 18, when my mother died. I was really thrown in to the fashion industry, and I was obviously a solopreneur. I had no idea what I was doing and I had to learn quickly. But the one thing that did happen for me was that I had a lot of mentors, and the mentors were teaching me about business and often the hard way. And so all my life as a solopreneur in the fashion industry, and throughout that, really delving into my biggest passion, which has been a spiritual mentor and coach, psychic medium, and author. One of the things that really occurred to me when I was at Money and You was I was confused. I was like, what is going on here? I had never come across anything like this, because when you're in business on your own, and I expected to make money, right? I had seen my mother do it. And, you know, when you're a child, you think whatever you see, you often think that that's normal. And so my mother, being this beautiful 36-year-old, 40-year-old businesswoman, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is normal. So I expected to make money. I had a great relationship with it. I wouldn't go out without a lot of cash in my bag because I, just in case I wanted something. And I had great stuff, but I didn't understand the value of my staff because I was in this grief-stricken world of my own, trying to survive, but thriving at the same time. It really wasn't until I did Money and You that I thought, oh, if I could go back now with this information, I would have a very different relationship with my staff. And because it's the people that you're working with, it's how you're showing up that's so important. And I'm going to tell you a little story because Money and You really brought this home to me. But one day I turned up at work and one of my staff said to me, you know, we never know what we're going to get with you. Are you going to be happy, sad, a bitch? And I'm like, I'm in shock. And I thought, oh, how you show up. This is it, how you show up in the world. Are you the high frequency being that you're meant to be in order to have success and to magnetize people to you, for you, to work with you? Or are you going to be that person that nobody really knows what's going on? And Money and You hits that home really hard. And I've heard quite a few people say, oh, I had to look deep, I had to go deep. And, you know, every morning before I went into work, I would sit in my car and ask myself 4 questions. And by the time I finished asking myself those 4 questions, I then walked into work and I could see my staff like, oh, they think I'm okay today, right? Because I was a different person. I was the best version of me. And the interesting thing that happens when you do something like that is that no matter what is going on in the world, and I'd been through a couple of financial crises, worldwide and individual, and I was rock bottom when this girl said this to me, by the way. And so it was like a double whammy. Oh, okay, so I'm struggling with my business. I'm about to divorce my first husband as a 27-year-old, and now I'm a bitch in my work. So honestly, it was a very interesting time. But the 4 questions I asked myself are the 4 questions I've been teaching now for 40 plus years. And when I did Money and You, I realized that the unconscious mind is running your business at least 95% of the time. And that when you do the games in Money and You, it allows the unconscious mind to rear its head, and it's either going to rear its head and you're going to be not happy with your result, or you're going to go, and even when you're not happy, by the way, the whole point is it's like, oh, okay, so this is really what I was thinking. This is really where I thought I was at in business with people. Because Doria Cordova is a queen of communication, connection, and collaboration. And honestly, that's why she's successful, and that's why Money and You is successful. And that's something that I didn't understand as an 18-year-old thrown into business. And now in my 70s, it's like, yeah, this is it. If it weren't for Money and You, I would never, ever have even thought that I could go into a direct marketing business. This is weird, right? Because I've been a solopreneur. I've got 8 best-selling books. I've spoken all over the world. And by the way, the most exciting time that I've ever had on stage was in Thailand with you, Doria, when you invited me to speak and teach at the business school for entrepreneurs. That was probably, it's a highlight of my life. So thank you for inviting me, and I hope I get invited back. But again, that was a highlight because I knew that I had to show up as the very best version of me in order for everybody in that audience to be able to show up as the best version of who they are. Because people emulate you. They emulate your frequency. They'll emulate where you're coming from, the way you speak, who you are. And in Money and You, you get to understand that who you are might need tweaking, and that the unconscious mind needs work. So for my business, I have spent my life delving into the unconscious mind to help my private clients get clear and strong to the programs that are sabotaging their life. And when I started doing that, and I went to Money and You and realized the work was so similar, I was just blown away. And then, of course, in the direct marketing world, I'm, one of the top people in the LifeWave business, because the product now works with the unconscious mind, frequency and light and energy. And I just want to say to everybody listening here today that you are a light being, you are an energy being, and you have a frequency and a vibration, whether you know it or not. And I'm not being spiritual here. This is just the truth of who we are. It's science. You are an energy light being, and how you show up is what manner of frequency that you have. And I have worked with business people who have done all of the right things. They hadn't been to Money and You, by the way, but they've done all of the right things, and they're still saying, but why? Why am I not getting, the job? Why am I not getting an interview even? And when I tweaked the unconscious mind and we had them show up as the highest frequency version of who they are, then they got the interviews, then they got the job, and then they got the promotions. So again, money in you as an experience takes you into the depths of your being in order for you to move forward as an amazing, unique human being that you were born to be. So be the light, live the light that you are, be the inspiration. And you know something about a good leader, and that is that when people feel great in your presence, that's one thing. But when they still feel uplifted, inspired, and wonderful when they're not in your presence because of the work that you've done, that's when you know that you're having the impact that you've come here to have. So Doria, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being the being that you are and doing the work that you do in the world.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you. Wow, what a beautiful share. Wow. So what we're doing is like, I'm just like, I love the way that people apply these principles, all of you. So many people apply these principles in their lives. And it's not only the Money and You program, but all the different beautiful teachers that come along. And many of you are teachers. And so what I want to do is just give you an opportunity. And here we have my beloved is the beautiful male. So we're going to have gentlemen go next so that he can go ahead and share. And what say you about money, leadership, and what would you like to share, Chris Menzel?
I want to start with remembering Sandra's talk at the business school. It was fantastic. She went, I think, double or triple her time, and we all were hanging on her lips, and it was a phenomenal experience. And I've been probably a dozen times now in Money and You in all kinds of different countries. I still learn more. Every time I come in, there's something else I hear, something else I experience. And I wanted to come in here and talk a little bit of AI. I've been in AI since I made my master's thesis in computer science about neural networks. That was 1979, and been following that. But for the last two years, AI has been totally changing my life. In fact, right now I live by the maxim, if I think more than 5 minutes, I should use AI. So Money Mouse is a comic book which talks about what you learn in Money and You from the perspective of a beautiful little mouse. It's written by AI. I've, of course, brought the ideas in. But the writing has been done by AI, the graphics has been done by AI, and it's beautiful. It's a fabulous thing. And the second Money Mouse book is already out. Money Mouse Becomes an Entrepreneur. I have two other books that I'm working on right now. I have one book that I finished. It's Passive Income, The Passive Income Revolution. That gives step-by-step instructions how to do that. And now I'm going beyond that because I think people don't really have the mindset to read 300-page books. So now I'm putting the knowledge into a conversation. So you can now talk with important people that you want to learn of. And the gift I have for you today is a program, and not complicated. You just click on it, that's it, where you can ask your business question, and you have Rockefeller talk about it, Elon Musk talk about it, Jay Abraham talk about it from the marketing side, and then Gandhi talk about it from the social side. And they all form a mastermind that is so informational, instructional. I think you will like it. And I also have a mastermind tutor. If you're on the move from a job to being an entrepreneur, this tutor will help you to change your mind and bring in the entrepreneurial thinking. And last not least, I'm giving you Money Mouse as a download. I will put the link in a moment, and you can download all of these. Enjoy, and if you need help, I'm here to help and support you with that.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much. I guess you're going to go to Facebook and you're going to go to YouTube and all the different platforms that this is showing through to give it to them, right? Or maybe you can just put for Money Mouse, you can just change while you're sitting here, keeping everybody company. Maybe you can change it to where they can go ahead and look at it. You guys would love it. See if you recognize who Money Mouse is. All right. So why don't we go ahead and this is a really interesting group of people. I'm trying to decide who to go to next. Let's go ahead and go with someone that I have known for a long time, Carol Hodges, and give her an opportunity. She wrote a beautiful book, and she is Paul Schumann's partner, and she does beautiful work, and she really knows a lot about leadership and money. So Carol, what say you about leadership and money in your life? Go ahead.
Oh gosh, I have been thoroughly enjoying what I'm hearing here, because leadership and money are so individual and personal. We all have our own relationships with it. And it's been a while since I went to Money and You the first time, and I've been back many, many times. And as many have said, each time I learned something new, because we're each different every day. And I love being in this environment, because where can you hear about frequency and light and AI and finances, everything all together at one time? But in this world, that's really what's happening right now, is that there are so many things. I look back in my own life at the advances that we've seen, the changes that we've seen. And it is your own thought process, the people you are with, and your willingness to grow that enables you to really, well, weather the storm. And we're going to see a lot of changes coming up. AI is simply one of many that are changing our life right now. But in my life, there was no internet at one time. And now look at what we're doing. We're having a meeting and we're all in different places around the world. So having the principles that enable you to go through change, to accept what's going forward, and then to see the opportunities in it. And I remember one specific game the first time that I went to Money and You, because it really is about learning about yourself. And in this particular game, toward the end, I thought, I know how to make this work. And I was so excited. Then I had a learning experience, because I went around and I couldn't I couldn't get anybody to hear me. That really made me think, how am I showing up that I can see something that would help everybody, but they cannot hear me? It is that kind of realization that you learn in Money and You that helps you in life. Because one thing for sure, we're all going through life with ourselves. And I would like to share one thing, because I've been using a little bit of AI with a lot of my own creativity, because I realize one of the most important things is to be able to give And yes, giving money is one way to contribute to the world, but giving of who you are and your own gift and inspiration, that's another way to really give to the world. So I've started a daily inspiration email called Soul Shine. And it's just a short little way of looking at your day and looking at it with the understanding that you're an individual. Your best day is different than anybody else's. So why not go out there and see, how can you think big? How can you grow? So I don't know if it's going to come through, but I have a link there if anybody would like to get that. You can see what it's like, and I hope you enjoy it. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it because my real passion is helping people live a life they would love. And you'll all find your own way to do that. But a program like Money and You brings together the most wonderful people. You've had a flavor of all of these people who are here tonight. And you're not going to know it when you first see them, how marvelous they are. But as you really step into it and recognize that you're a unique person and the world needs exactly what you have to give. But the secret is, how do you give it? Anyhow, I think you see below there the little bit.ly link that will get you to sign up, and we can stay in touch through Soulshine. So, Doria, I look forward to seeing you soon again, because I'll be there again, and once more, I'll hear something new.
I know. We'll be together on January 15th evening to the 18th in San Diego. Thank you so much. And that is such a good idea. What we can all do too is put your links next to your names, right? So that people can see if you have any free gifts. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ava. Thank you for that. And we are going to go ahead and let's go to Dr. Jody Bear. We'll save the mom and daughter duo for the end there, and before we start the after party. So, Dr. Jody Bear, what say you? Welcome back to the Los Angeles Tribune. Aloha. How are you? Oh, you are on mute, I think. Yeah. There we go.
Because I was trying to follow rules because it's always noisy where I am. But thank you, Dame Doria and Mo and all of our friends. I was just gleaning, like everybody else, everything that people said. Here, as a holistic practitioner, health coach, and nutritionist for 47 years, I have built my whole entire practice on the Chinese traditional pillars, 6 pillars: spiritual, then physical. But really, people get that wrong. It's really mental after physical. And the reason I want to share that is because that's what Money and You did for me. It starts physical, then it goes, spiritual, then mental, then we go to emotional, physical, financial, and social. But the reason this is so important for me was because of the spiritual spirit of you, Dame Doria. And frankly, I met you I haven't been fortunate enough to know you like Dame Sandra or Paul or some others for so long, but I experienced your spirit in Clubhouse, that pandemic phenomenal Clubhouse. What would we have done without it? I felt you go from the spiritual pillar all the way down to the social pillar. I thought, what does this woman have sandwiched between having everything else? And just like we always say, we buy not the Chevrolet, but the sizzle. When you said that first Money and You was going to be after the pandemic and things opened up, I was in. I was in because of your sizzle, because of your spirit. And we see the physical, then we see that physical person. The first time I saw you after feeling your spirit, it really, I think you elevated your physical above the mental and emotional for me. But I think Money and You for me, Dame Doria, and those of you that were listening here, can be summed up in 3 words. elevation, and we've heard leverage, and we've also heard community. And perhaps I can give a bit of an embellishment on those three, because me being an East Coast Floridian, just like I said, physical before mental, at my 8th decade now, I really don't do evenings. It was late when we went into that game. Kamal said that it was late, and I was just noticing in the wee hours the energy and the frequency of these people, even the Pacific Asia people. I thought, I can do this evening. I can do this. It elevated me to new heights. And as far as the interactive exercises, I always say transformation is an inside job, to look in from your core, not only spiritually, but mentally. What is it doing to me? And as Dame Sandra said, I teach this. I've been teaching this for 47 years. And to see me go inside and observe people and then observe myself, and the interaction was really life-changing. Leverage, my relationship with money. Well, Chris, I've got a surprise for you. I have my Money Mouse book. I gave it to my grandchildren. We read it. They loved it. And they said, I can see that this really makes sense. But for me, leverage, I was Money Mouse. Why? Because my mother said money didn't grow on trees. She was a widow. And I didn't even realize that money had a negative connotation. I'd made a lot of it. I'd made a lot of people happy, but I didn't realize until I stepped into Money and You, my preconceived notion. But just as Money Mouse says, Money Mouse teaches leverage. Oh, my, because she had these 5 friends. And as I tried to put the link to Amazon, all you've got to do on Amazon is type Chris Menzel's name in, and it's Mentzel. It pops up just like that. We had an interactive time over the holiday with my son and my 15, 13, and 11-year-old grandchildren, and we had a conversation about money. Thank you, Money Mouse. That was leverage. And then we've got community. Like I said, being a holistic practitioner, I had a transformation. I had sold my practice in 2020. I was used to brick and mortar. Then I went to click and order. What was I going to do? I had to recreate myself. Absolutely. Money and You came at the right time. And I think Miss Money Mouse said something about that too, when she said, oh my goodness, the bridge to trust. And it was a matter of integrity, that you could be honest with yourself and go outside yourself. That community, when I saw this room, was so extraordinary. Why? Because Dame Doria breathes and lives Buckminster Fuller's adage, how we can be and do the most for 100% of humanity without any ecological offense or disadvantage to anyone. I had just come off of Hurricane Ian. It was a mess in Florida, but I had committed to come. That was my integrity move. And I'm so glad that I did. You see, that's how we go from spiritual pillar to the social pillar, because Dame Doria brought me up unbeknownst to me. And I was able, through this community, to launch my $1 million just humanitarian effort through and for the Floridians that were just devastated. And I just saw it in action. It was amazing. But then, as the Ginsu knife commercial said, wait, there's more. What I saw, and as Sandra said, we teach this stuff. We had all of these people, over 100 people in the room, meditating together. I thought I was going to levitate. It was just extraordinary to see how, like my shirt, you see, there are 2 pieces to the sleeve. But then after the meditation, I was smooth. I was smooth as silk, because I felt these 5 people that I learned to be with times 10. So what I want to say to those of you that are listening here, Dame Doria mentioned her distinctions program. She mentioned Fridays with Dame Doria, her aftercare, and her consistent wanting to elevate, to leverage you in a community. What if you had those 5 people that we want to hang out with? What if they were 50? What if there were hundreds of thousands of people. I can think of right now, I have 12 people that would not be in my life helping me in this personal transition that I'm in had it not been for money and you. You never know what gifts you're going to have and unwrap, but you've got to present and be a part of the gift. And I'll say, as a 76-time best-selling author and publisher, this is our latest book back in there. Dame Doria is in this one, as well as our anthology. Here she's got her access to cash. Would you even miss her going ahead and bringing out the debut along with Chris got it first with Money Mouse, and then she brings out her new book, From Money and You. I know it'll be nothing less than phenomenal. You see, your opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, abound. They're created for you, but just like that gift, you've got to open it up. So I want to end my time in honoring you, but honoring everyone who has felt Dame Doria's experience and their spirit and has felt the spirit of what we have in that spiritual pillar. The poem I've written decades ago, but it goes like that, and it is from our Creator. So let's delve into this social pillar, shall we? Our Creator said, build a better world. And I said, can you show me how? This world is such a cold, dark place. It's so complicated now. I am just one, passionate yet helpless. There is so much here to do. So the Creator reached down and said to me, as he touched my hand and shoulder and leaned on me and said, to build a better world, Joel child, just start with one, then go to two, and then you have begun to build a better you. Dame Doria, that's what you have done. That's what I've done with my 35,000 client patients, the tens of thousands I've helped post-retirement, in the COVID era as well. We start with one, we go to two. So I say, join us January 25th, or excuse me, 15th through the 18th. You see, I don't do evenings, but I know if I can do it, you can do it too. But come on the 15th. Come to San Diego. You won't need an airplane if you live in Florida back that way, because you will take the spirit of Money and You, the mission and vision, and Dame Doria with you, and you will take it in hope and healing for humanity. Thank you, Dame Doria, for allowing me to share this evening. I honor and I respect and love you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we send you so much love as you're going through this transition without your beloved. You are being so courageous and so wonderful that you have your family, your grandchildren. It must have been a tough first Christmas without your beautiful husband. And
we had money, and we had Money Mouse.
Thank you. You guys are going to enjoy Money Mouse. But remember, so you don't get confused, at Amazon is where you go buy it for, I don't know, $11. I think Chris is going to make $2 out of the deal. So, for all that work, but you get it as a gift, an online one. And that's what he was going to give you too, right? Go ahead and put that, but it's a beautiful thing. So finally, speaking of family, we're going to go to the beautiful family here with a mother and daughter. And I wanted both of them to come on and share about money and leadership. It's really interesting. I met Jackie also in Clubhouse. And then, we are all sapiosexualists around here. And just so you know, now I know that if Marshall Thurber, the creator of this work, doesn't know what a sapiosexualist is, nobody knows what that is. All right. So sapiosexualist is not naughty. It is a person that falls in love with intelligence. In this network, we love intelligence. We love facts. We love things that have been proven. We know things that have consistently shown, results in life. And this is when people talk about, what makes Money and You different? Aside from people just raving about it, like you see here. And thank you, all of you, for being so kind and loving about the work. And remember, I am a Money and You graduate too. I inherited the work. The work was created by Marshall Thurber, Bobby DePorter. But one of the things that was so powerful for me, I went to see Marshall last night, and it was such a beautiful time because he got to get a sense of the book, and I wanted him to approve what I wrote about him, and he will be getting back to me. And and we'll make the few little changes. It was very complimentary, but you always have to check in with the people that created the work, right? And so one of the things that I was letting him know, and that the book, he's going to be very proud of the fact that I have this huge bibliography where you can actually go and trace what is being said. We are about facts. We are about bringing generalized principles and how they apply to human beings. And this is also the work of geniuses that have been tested and proven, but applied to human behavior. So that's what the work is all about. And I think that's why people like Jackie, when Jackie and I connected in Clubhouse, it was like, oh my God, her brain, her mind is so beautiful. And then, of course, she trusted me because I said, you must come to Money and You one of these years. And she definitely got a sense of it, but that everything that I had said to her was true. But now what I want her to do is to kind of like share her own experience of leadership, the work that she does, and to be able to also apply it to money and building and shifting her own consciousness. Because I think that Jackie and many of the brilliant people and many of the professionals that we meet have not been taught to have an entrepreneurial mind, and that can get in the way of them creating the level of wealth that they really truly deserve. So with that, Jackie and Sochli, take it away.
Thank you so much, Doria. You're one of my favorite human beings on the whole planet. And when we met on Clubhouse, it's almost 4 years ago, and I heard you speak in the same room. We were doing a summit together, right? And when I heard you speak, and I realized this is a sister. This is somebody who thinks the way I think and wants to think even more like that, because we're all about the evolution of human consciousness on the planet, lifting all humanity, all of the planet, to a higher level of living and cooperating and collaborating and simply making the world work for 100% of humanity. And I wasn't familiar with Buckminster Fuller until I started hearing you speak and realized, oh my gosh, this man, Dr. Buckminster Fuller, has the question that I've been trying to answer my whole life. And the thing about that is that we all can contribute to that. And just so you know what the question is, and I'm going to just read the quote here so I get it exactly right. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone? And so my daughter grew up with kind of that attitude, that orientation. And when she started to hear about you, she can tell you her own story about that. When I started telling you about Doria, if you go back and think about that, and before we went to Money and You, what was the attraction for you to go to Money and You, and what were you thinking when I started to share what Doria had been sharing with me? And
that Doria had found a pathway to truly realizing this dream, because it takes every single human being being up-leveled in how they're already applying the principles Money and You is sharing, but they don't know how they're using them. And that's why it's about Money and You, because you get to explore the paradigms that you've been operating in that don't serve you, that come from scarcity and the myth of separation. And I remember we were so excited when we started really understanding where Doria was coming from, because, like she said, it was the answer, or a greater integration of what we had already been understanding and working on in our lives and with clients and people, because we could see what was needed. And my mom, particularly as an applied anthropologist and a holistic practitioner and a shaman, if I can say that on camera.
You just did.
I just did. Yeah, her leadership for me, and this group of people that is truly a family of people dedicated to answering this question in their own unique way. And we all are needed. One phrase that has come to me through my own growth process, healing process, learning how to apply my wisdom to ministry in new ways, is that we are all divinely human and humanly divine. And like someone else said earlier, it starts with the spiritual and it all trickles down, because that's all there is. All there is infinite love expressing uniquely in us, as us, and through us. And it is we are both blessing and blessed. It is our divine gifts that we are here to contribute to realize this dream, because it's already here. The truth is that we are living in abundance and sufficiency. And it's learning to apply the principles such as access that you already may be applying, but you don't know how you're applying them. And Money and You really helps you clarify and understand. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life, or how much success you've attained at this point. You've attained success. If you are alive on the planet, you've attained some level of success.
You survived.
And you're here. And you have something that's important and unique to give. And you can. So no matter what level you're at right now, it will help you teach you what you're doing. You're really kind of teaching yourself in a way, but you're doing it with people, and it's with others, and it's that collaborative experience that allows us to really see how we're showing up in our own, how we really view ourselves.
I think that one of the key principles too, that, Doria, you talk about this a lot, that the biggest issue facing people is the lack of feeling like they deserve. So you call that deservability. And I know that even though we know a lot about things, we've struggled with deservability. And one of the things that Money and You really addresses head on is this issue of deservability, because it comes up in the games that we're playing. The games that we're playing, do I even deserve to share this, or have it turn out this way or that way, or
do I matter?
Do I matter enough to even participate and make the game work? Deservability is a key issue. And we talk in Money and You a lot about access and leverage in the entrepreneurial toolbox, so let's call it. But if we don't feel that we deserve to have sufficiency and to be fully supported, then no matter how strong our message is, it's really hard to get out, because without money, without time, without support, our impact is very small. And this is something we've struggled with, is we have a lot to say that is useful and could really make a difference for people. The clients we've worked with have said so, but our impact has been nothing compared to what it could be. And part of that has been limited by our own feelings of deservability. So if we were going to get a message out tonight, I think it's that we all need to work on deservability. And for me, professionally and personally, dropping judgment is one of the biggest things that we can do to help ourselves have a greater feeling of deservability, because judgment of ourselves and others actually holds us back. It locks us in place in the identity that we think we have of maybe someone who doesn't deserve, or that other person doesn't deserve either. And we add to our vision of them as being undeserving because they said this, they did that, they brought this on themselves, et cetera, et cetera. We're in a world that is struggling with deservability, and it shows up as judgment in such unhealthy ways. I loved some of the things that were said earlier, especially around the subconscious mind, because I am a certified hypnotherapist. And one of the things I know is that we are steeped in our own beliefs about whether we deserve and who we are then, and how we show up in the world. And desirability is also the filter through which we allow ourselves to even try something new or to ask for what we want and need. You know, if we don't have that feeling of deservability, we're going to have a real struggle with money. We're going to have a real struggle with the relationships, and even our health can suffer.
And you already have a level of deservability.
You do.
And there's nothing wrong with you. Your mind is actually working exactly the way it's designed to hold on to paradigms that have helped you get to this point in this now moment. And I'm here to tell you, you here right now, you're always in the right place at the right time. And Doria's Ho'oponopono prayer is such reinforcement for that truth.
Yeah, that's something that if you haven't heard, when Doria does Fridays with Doria and twice a month, one of the times a month is the Ho'oponopono. I can't even say it. Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian forgiveness practice. That prayer, if you're religious or you're spiritual or you're not, think of it this way, that it is a cleansing. It is helping you let go of the things that no longer serve you. And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention too, is that money and you isn't locked into any particular belief system. It's not about your religion. It's not about your spirituality, although there are religious people there. There are spiritual people there. There are people who are atheists. It is about looking at what works. It is about the practical systems that we live in and that we think in, because our thoughts are systems, they're programs. And I just wanted to bring that up because you will experience it at Money and You if you get to go, you know, and I recommend you do, highly recommend you do. You'll get to experience your own systems. What's operating in you? What is your operating system? Because the games bring it out. And once you discover where the bugs are in your operating system, you're free to start to debug your own system.
And make new choices.
And make new choices. And drop the judgment about how you've been, because you've been doing the best you can with what you knew up till now. So, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I just love it. I just love to have a mother and daughter group together here. I mean, this is so beautiful, and such a reflection. And then, you know, I always tell socially, like last night, I sat with my mom. We got to see her for New Year's Day, and then we drove to see Marshall Thurber. We spent time with best friends in LA, and then went to see Marshall, and that was so wonderful to be with him. And then we drove back, and we went through Mama's, you know, her the nursing home where she's at, and she's so loved there, and she was up still, and you know, we sat with her for about 90 minutes, and we just sat there. I mean, there were little things that we were saying, but you know, you just purr when you can be with your mama at 99 years old, you know, even if she does have dementia. She certainly knows who I am. She knows who Chris is, my sister, and, you know, my brother-in-law. And she's just happy that we're there with her. You know, it's like the essence of love. You know, there's all these things about dementia. And Chris and I are kind of noticing that she's getting better. We just hope that she doesn't remember where she used to live, because she'll want to go back. and but it is so beautiful, the essence. You actually can see that as humans, even if we don't have fully, our conscious mind, that people feel the essence. And I think that that has been like an amazing confirmation for me of how we humans really connect. I mean, I know it, but now I'm having a whole other understanding because of Mama. And if you guys go to my Facebook under DC Cordova, I've been posting. I'm part of a group, and you probably want to go ahead and probably sign up for it, because then you get it on your feed every day. It's from Degrassi, the wonderful neuroscientist, and this amazing. No, is he a neuroscientist? No, he's not. What is he, Degrassi? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But every day, almost every day, he has information about how the brain works. And I'm just fascinated by that. And then we have another web page that we kind of made up, and it's called Support Solutions for Spaceship Earth. I think it's called, right, Chris? Maybe you can put it on the comments in the public. And so what I do is I find all these different articles that support humans and support people, and I put it on that site. Because if I were to put it just on my site, it would become a little bit overwhelming. And they were talking about fasting and semi-fasting, and how that actually also helps your brain. It helps your brain. And there was an article in there that they're thinking that some of these brain things that we have are not really just related to the brain. It actually has to do with our diet. And I mean, these are full on scientific studies that they're doing. And then also it helps you to be able, with anti-aging and all these things. And for many years now, I don't start eating, like solid food, so to speak, until mid-morning, or sometimes noon, and sometimes not even until 1 or 2 p.m., right? And so it's all liquids in the morning, for the first few hours. And I had no idea that that is helping me so much. So there's so many studies, and of course we are avid fans of LifeWave. LifeWave is something that we absolutely love, and all the patches and things. And so we are learning all of these technologies that are being brought online that most people do not know about. And they're the ones who bring you so much joy and happiness, and your ability to be the best leader, and it brings you that knowledge when you really have to take, it to clear your deservability. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you always have those different levels of deservability. And the sad thing is that when it's so sad to see people who are very rich or who are billionaires who are so unhappy. It's like, oh my God, it's like $1 billion. You know how much money that is, right? I mean, couldn't you buy all the happiness in the world? If that doesn't prove to you that it is an inside job, I don't know what it can, right? So yeah, thank you, Chris. So we are going to we saved the best for last. We have a couple of friends who are trying to get on they're getting ready to go to Kauai, and they're going to see if they can get in, and who, just beautiful minds, and that haven't been here. They know that we always have a little bit of an after party, but so we're going to have Laurita. Laurita has been working with us. Make sure that you are on mute, everybody. Thank you. So Laura is a beautiful young woman that has come into our lives. And I think did we meet you in Clubhouse, Laurita?
Yes, we did.
Another Clubhouse contact. Oh my God, everybody here right now is from Clubhouse. That was totally accidental. That was Chris could not understand why I was spending endless hours in Clubhouse. It was so wonderful. And Ava.
I have to add myself, Game Doria.
Yes.
I was a Clubhouse too.
The 1%ers room.
Yeah. And so Chris was like, why are you spending all those hours? I said, the people in there are so fascinated. But Laurita, we met her there, and she has gone through all these different stages. Her mother is a Ho'oponopono practitioner for many years, so I call her a Ho'oponopono baby. Now, that's kind of interesting. Come on, you guys, that has to be interesting, that her mother has been practicing this for so long, and then she kind of lands with us, and it's easy for her to do the prayer. And so I know that you're young. I know that you don't have the kind of experience that we have, but what have you learned in your own life about money, leadership? What is the process that you're going through? You kind of like my mentee, we're working together. I'm constantly correcting you and giving you new information. And I love it that you don't take it personally. The same thing with my beautiful Chris, because I'm just so systems oriented, right? So share with us your knowledge and your wisdom with this beautiful group. And you can tell them a little bit about your profession. You're quite talented, but go ahead. We'll feed
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Dame Doria. And thank you to the Los Angeles Tribune and all the team, Ava, Alicia, and Mo, and all the team. I'm so happy and blessed to be here with you. As Dame Doria just mentioned, back in the day, 2022, 21 actually, during the pandemic, I ran into this app Clubhouse and I met you. And actually, I remember to send you some Instagram message. Now I learned that's not the way to communicate. But still, I was in awe with all the information that I was getting. I started my entrepreneurship journey as a small business owner in Mexico. So at 9 years old, I was creating my first business, which was in elementary school. I was creating these packages on Barbie clothes, all the outfits, and I was selling them. I don't know where that idea came from, but I remember those days and packing my bags with money until my professor found it, and somehow they prohibit to me to do business at such a young age. But that didn't stop me. I came and at 21, I created my first business in Mexico, Masin, which is all related to, wedding stationery, printing. My background is in design, so I can relate to all the creative and colorful stuff. And the crafty lady, I'm guilty of that. And then I remember, Dame Doria, and for all of you, I just want to share this. I remember I was at my office that day, and I was like, is this all that I'm going to do? I felt that my business was thriving. I felt that I was accomplishing, the regular goals that we might have in life, having a house, having a new brand car, and that I feel that I need to do something else. I don't know where that voice came from. Long story short, I moved into the United States because I got married with a very good man. And then I was in the pandemic, right? Trapped here. I connected with Dame Doria, Rex Eyes, Mokro, Eva, Manuel, all of these amazing entrepreneurships. And I just saw myself like, yes, that's the path that I want to follow. So I was blessed to be participant in Money and You. And once that I was there, I recognized myself that I was a leader in transformation, because Dame Doria just said, just expressed that she's teaching me how to be a better leader, how to communicate better. And those things you can experience in your own skin going to Money and You. As everyone here has mentioned, through games, you get that experience, because it is not the same if I share with you what I felt. But if you really go and experience that game, you will then embrace that principle, and then you can apply it later. So just being quick, I want to share like 2 things that made a big impact since I was there. The first time that I attended Money and You was back in 2022. So the first thing that I embraced was clarity, the importance of having a clear message and how to communicate. And just today, I got this experience about, I was thinking that I was being clear enough to communicate my message, but I was, thinking on my side, my point of view. And then when you collaborate with someone else who receives the information in a different way, you need to readjust. So again, learning that with ease and peace is the difference, because Dame Doria just mentioned, if you go to your feelings and, oh, this person is not understanding what I want to say, you position yourself in another stage, like, okay, let me receive this, and then to do a course correction. And I'm avid reader, so I'm actually loving the book and the master class that we're having with Elias. I know he's coming. It's an amazing instructor from Venezuela. So once that I learned the course correction, I said, this is life. This is how you, every time, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You just need to adjust. You need to correct yourself, because that's the way you grow. It's in nature. It's natural. So now with my background, I'm a branding strategist. But now that I recognize all of these teachings, I am being able to help my clients to recognize those barriers, those paradigm shifts that I can recognize now. So, for example, some client was so afraid about creating this, conference. She has all the knowledge, but still, she doesn't have that level of deservability as Jackie and Xochitl were sharing. Like, yeah, I don't feel that I'm enough. Who am I to speak in Los Angeles Tribune, right? So we all can relate to those feelings. So if you allow yourself to do it anyways and be able to do the mistake, you will learn, and then you can move on. And then soon enough, you will see, like, okay, the first time I was in Los Angeles Tribune, I was so blessed to be invited to the new psychology event that they had with Dennis Waitley. Guys, I couldn't speak English. I had my post-its all over the place in my screen, and actually I have one here, but I was so afraid because I was on TV live, just like I am now. But I feel confident now. Now I feel that I can share from my experience. And I'm telling you, if you hear some of the speakers here, we're sharing from the heart. We're not trying to sell anything, but giving you the space to come here to this community. And just because you're here, I'm just loving this space. So thank you, Dame Doria. Thank you all for allowing me to share. And there's something that people sometimes I have asked, do you think that this is possible? The big question that Jackie asked us, how do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without ecological offense or disadvantage to anything? Nowadays, I'm asking that question to anyone that I run into. And if they say, no, you're crazy, I say, okay, it's okay. I will need to find my tribe now. So thank you. I'm so honored to be part of this community. I'm complete, like in Clubhouse.
They're giving you a lot of flowers in the private chat there to be in the group and all that. See, for us, it's really beautiful. With the same thing for Shotli, to see when we see young people and they begin to just really blossom. And you are already, Laudita, you're already a full-on professional. You have your own business. It's just that you just were a little short in English, but now you got it down. And you've gone through some pretty tough things, personal things that have given you, could have really set you back. And you just pick yourself up and you continue. And some of them are extremely emotional, right? Like that's where we connect, in the miscarriage of babies. I mean, that takes people.
The whole Ponopono has changed my life, because experiencing 4 miscarriages last year was a toll, but now I'm releasing. And I remember you told me that day, later on, you will know why. You don't need to figure out things. And now that I'm coming into this strong, passionate way to share, I think that's the way I need to lead now. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to experience the Ho'oponopono, because that shift all the feelings that I have now. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's really and unless you have been in a family that has experienced that,
Mhm.
both, I mean, not only the mother, which is horrific, but also the people around, the fathers and the mothers of the mothers and everyone. It's just the precessional effects, the ripple effects is very debilitating, and you just getting up and going for it. And we love having you with us. So what I wanted to do was I was hoping that Ava, I don't know if you can come back in. We'd love to hear from you. And then I don't know, Mo, are you still watching us? The big boss has been watching. We'd love to have you come in too. Ava, what say you about money and leadership?
Well, my life transformed when I came into Money and You. Thank you so much, Dame Doria. Um, my husband and I were the winners of the 1% Club in Clubhouse, day 99 and day 100. And we were we were gifted coming into Money and You, and it transformed my life. There's I've been saying this, but for you, if you haven't said this, there's a interview form when you first come into Money and You. And I was in that space in my life. All I've known in my life is to be a mom of 6 kids and to be a physical therapist. But at that time when we were in Clubhouse, I just had my second COVID, and I had some very severe post-COVID symptoms that I couldn't continue to be a physical therapist, and my kids just moved out of the house. So I was in an existential crisis that all I knew about my life was shifted, and I had to find myself again. And at that time, we were filling out the questionnaire, and the questionnaire asked, like, what do you want? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be this and I don't want to be that. And all I knew was what I didn't want. I was in the place in my life where I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew where I don't want to be. And when I came into Money and You, being in Money and You just brought so much clarity. You know, I think the biggest pivoting moment for me, Dame Doria, was the way you actually defined wealth. You know, and it's access. You know, access is wealth, and that shifted my my mindset. It shifted my perspective, because I came from a culture where wealth is in dollars, right? Well, wealth is in possessions, right? So to realize that our biggest treasures is access, and access is with people, right? And being able to steward these connections and that's what led me into stewarding the connections with Mo and with the Los Angeles Tribune and all of the leaders and the experts. And that's 2021, coming into 4 years since I first took Money and You. It's day and night, Dame Doria, and you know this. It's day and night. So I am grateful, and I want to invite you, and I want to really invite you. Take yourself on and come and join. We have it here, San Diego, January 15 to 18. Come to Money and You and see what opens up for you. I mean, we always get what we are. I want to do it again, Dame Doria. I actually thought that this January is going to be the time that I'm going to do it again, because if you don't know, once you're a graduate of Money and You, you're welcome to review it and do another review. And I feel like I'm in a very different space now than when I first took it, and I wanted to retake it from my space right now. So definitely, I would recommend it 1,000% to anybody. It's worth you investing on yourself and the time for you to accelerate your next level in Money and You. Thank you, Dame Doria.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, you are another one that has gone through this huge flowering. I mean, right, Dr. Jody Bear, you remember? Oh my God. I mean, like, you guys have all, like, it's like amazing for us to see. It's like, it's so beautiful. I can see it now. Now I'm in my mid 70s, right? And I remember what people used to say to me about me, and would go, oh my God, it's like, look at you, how you blossom, look at that. And then there's people still that have known me for 47 years from way back in the day, and there is a part of them that can't believe that I built what I built. And it was like, and they go, well, you have had a lot of help, and that is so true. I mean, this has been built by many different people, and promoting partners and all kinds of instructors and program directors and the logistics and the VIP. I mean, the people that have been involved. And so then when I hear from them, I go, yeah, you're right. It's like I had very little to do with this, right? And then I realized that leadership, none of that would have happened without all the legal agreements and the rules of the game. And then me taking a stand, a very, very strong stand, when people were like, oh, I'm just going to take this. I mean, like, there have been people in the last 45 years that just decided, oh, I'm just going to take money and you. It's like, and I'm like, no, you're not. And that's when my 8 years of legal comes in, without people don't realize that I have a lot of free legal support because I grew up in the legal system. But I don't sue anybody and nobody sues me. Why? Because I learned so much in that field, right? But it's like, in what other industry do people feel like they can just take somebody's business, right? And then I realized that it takes, for you to be a leader, and especially around money, all the things that we teach in Money and You, of course, like having rules for the game, and this beautiful, Jody Bear, excuse me, not Jody Bear, sorry, I got Jody on my mind, JB Owens, or JV Owen, in the last, I want to recommend that you all go back and see the original, the first time that we did this Money and Leadership. And we had a lot more people. I chose to have a lot less people because they would kind of rush. And I just thought, oh my God, there were so many wonderful people there. I don't want them to be rushed this time. And one of the, as I went back, JB Owen, she kept talking about that she had learned contracts at Money and You. And I went, wow, which part is contracts? There must have been contracts that they talked about, but I was there when she did Money and You. And Carrie and the other couple of presenters usually don't talk about contracts. And then she brought it up, and it was rules of the game. And it was like, oh, that's what she's calling contracts. And then, of course, Marshall Thurber was an attorney. I had grown up in the legal system for 8 years prior to attending the first business school. And then rules of the game come from contracts, except that Marshall Thurber, Bobby DePorter, and the whole team that built the real estate company where this program comes from, actually, they set some real clear rules of the game, because that's what you do. That's what you do when you are going to work with teams, when you are going to lead any organization. And the one that I highly want to recommend to all of you as a leader is for you to understand exit agreements. Those are the ones that are going to keep you out of trouble. Those are the ones that you will be able to really get you out of the doghouse. Because when you are in love with people, when you are like so happy to be partners and all that, you don't think that anything is ever going to go wrong. And so you only think of the most positive things. But there's very few partnerships. Please understand this. In real life, there's very few partnerships that last a long time. So you have to think in 5-year increments. Even the way that I have been working in my own business, thinking that I'm going to sell it, in 5 years. Now, 45 years later, I'm actually most likely going to do it, because I would have been in business for 50 years. And I really want to be able to do other things, but every single moment I have loved. But if somebody had told me when I started leading this organization at 29 years old, that, and I had a lot of help. I had a lot of support. I was very inexperienced. And I was experiencing my profession. I was experiencing many things, but leading a group of people. So I kind of relied a lot on Marshall and Bobby for a little while until I grew my little legs, right? Then my legs got really strong and really big. And then it took over my whole body and my whole consciousness, right? But that took about 6 years, right? It takes a little while. But if somebody had told me that I was going to love this work as much as I did on the first day that I attended Money and You, so that I could see whether I was going to want to lead the program, to be able to have my work around this program, that I was going to be doing this for 50 years. Just the thought of, when I think about myself when I was 29, 30 years old, and how fast it went. Young people, it goes really fast. Don't make fun of anybody, because before you know it, you're going to be there, and you better be as good looking as you are then, and the way you're going to do that is through health. And this is where my beautiful Dr. Jody Bear, oh my God. By the way, I don't know if you can give people that immune booster outside of the United States, but for those of you that, if you ever get a really bad cold or a bad flu, or you get something, Jody Bear is the person. You order from her now and put it away. I have 2 bottles. Jody, I haven't needed them, but they're sitting there. And because I have a tiny body, I only can handle half of a bottle, because I don't drink. And half of it, I think, 28% of it is alcohol, right? It's just how they have to keep these things together. But oh my God,
however, it's a spagyric, which doesn't, it goes through your body. It does not absorb like alcohol. Just have to give that disclaimer. Thank you,
it
dear.
should taste like it. It tastes like the strongest tequila, whiskey, rum, you name it. I mean, that thing, I took one little thing and it was like, holy mother of God, I couldn't even hold it down. But guess what? I trusted Jody. I said, I'm going to do my best. Chris, watch me. And I went, okay. But I could only handle half of it. And she says, that's good. You can have the other half the next day, because I have a small body, right? But these are the things that you surround yourself, and you keep yourself healthy. Everything that we've been talking about tonight, because it's not just leadership and money in a company and in an organization and all the things that you need to learn, but you need to lead your own life. You need to lead your family. You need to lead your children, your grandchildren. You need to be a leader of every aspect of, even your community. So you step forward, even if you're nervous, even if you're afraid, you step forward when something needs to be done. Because the way that I inherited this work, the creators of it had a huge learning experience that in a million years, anybody could have ever expected that it was going to happen the way that it happened. It was just so left field. And this is the thing about life, you guys. When things happen, they're very left field. You just, no matter how much you prepare, when they happen, and it was like, holy mother of God. And it was just everything was going to disappear. Marshall Thurber and Bobby D. Porter, it was like, it was over. Money and You was over. The business school was over. Everything was over. And it was like, no, it's not. No, it's not going to be over. And it was like, I'm sorry. I know you guys are going through a lot, but can I at least create the Berkeley Business School Alumni Association? Do I have permission to have the list from the first business school and the list from the second business school and the list of the people that have attended Money and You? It's like, do whatever you want to do. It's like, it's over for us. And it was like, no. This is when I have to step forward. And it was like, in those days, in 1979, I was a court reporter, so I had one of the best typewriters in the world. So I had a Selectric that cost $2,500 in 1979. Look it up, how much money that was for. The best typewriter on the planet, because you had to have it. And I had it from my court reporting days that I had only retired a year and a half earlier, right? So I had all the equipment, and I had all the I knew exactly how to do mailings. I knew exactly what needed to be done because I had been a pro as an official court reporter and an interpreter, right? And so now it was like, okay, I'm going to keep everybody together. Don't worry, everybody. And it was like, they're looking at me like, okay, it looks like she's stepping forward. And when everybody is sad and in a panic and things are kind of like dissolving in front of you, when it's you, no matter how scared you are, when you're really connected to your own spirit, it's like you go, yep, I better step forward. I'm the one that's going to do this. And this is in the Money in You book a little bit, not quite that story. But what happened was that then Marshall, who had been in I mean, they lost everything, everything. This is not a private story. This has been known for many, many people know this, and it's part of the history, right? And it was like, we got to start again. And it was like, we are going to go on the road, and we're going to, Money in You is going to shift a little bit. It's all going to be about making mistakes. Bucky talks about making mistakes. So there were big mistakes that were made. And it's like Marshall is looking at me like, are you out of your mind that I'm going to be teaching something called Money in You? I go, yep, 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 we're going to be doing that. And the contacts that I had, my classmates, I called them up. Somebody had said once, oh, if you ever, I would love to promote this program in Colorado. It was like, call them up, call the people in all of it. And with 3 people, Hawaii, Roger Lane, the Weisses, Rachel Weiss, her parents. Rachel was 11 years old, 12 years old in Colorado. And then we had a group in Vermont that wanted to do it. And then, of course, we already had we had started in Vermont. And then that first program that we did when we went back, the first program that we did it in Vermont. And in that program was the guy that created the ice cream, Ben Cohen, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. In that program was Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. Just recently, I was reminding them that was their classmate was Ben and Jerry's. I think they had forgotten about it. And so now, like everything just, as I started to take leadership, then Marshall's and Bobby's very wealthy, very committed people like Bill Gold, who was one of the giants in the food industry, had the Good Earth restaurants, goes, oh, well, I'll advise you. I'll help you out. Okay. My name was DC then. DC, you can do this. We'll help you out. And if you need any money, I have plenty of it. Just let me know what you need. And I go, oh, I'm going to try to do this on my own. It's like, and then it was like, and then this other wonderful man, Pete Wenger. They're both my angels now. They work with me from the other side. Pete Wenger, the creator of the of Granny Goose potato chips, and I was just Googling all this, and then I found out because Pete used to make a joke about it, and it was a very famous company because they had this ad with this really handsome man, and he would say, "My name is Granny Goose," and it was a very famous ad in television. Everybody knew the Granny Goose ad. And then Pete Wenger used to say, yeah, when I got the company, even the potatoes were rotten. And he had kind of taken over this company and became very wealthy from it. He goes, I'll help you out. Come on. He goes, if you need any money, I have plenty of it. So now I have these 2 amazing humans with Marshall and Bobby, kind of like coming through this thing. And then I have the other partners that had been there, and it was like, yeah, okay, well, you go ahead and do Money and Use, and we'll do a business school later, whatever. Because immediately I wanted another business school. So I'm writing on my typewriter to all my classmates, guess what? We're going back on the road. We're doing Money and Use. And who knows? Don't tell Marshall and Bobby. We'll probably do another business school, but shh, no, don't tell anybody. And little by little, see, the way that you grow leadership, you put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. and you do what you're really good at, and you just and people just come around. They love leaders. They love leadership, and they'll come and help you out. And it's like, okay, I'll help you with that. Oh, I'll help you with that. Oh, and so and so. Oh, they want to do money and you. Okay, so not only now I have Hawaii, Vermont, and Colorado, and it's like, oh yeah, they want to do money and use in Atlanta. Oh yeah, okay. And it was like, Atlanta, right? And so these wonderful people from Atlanta. I remember I mean, Hot Atlanta, we called it. Oh my God, what money and use we had there, right? So now we are building this, and we're building this. And then of course, I'm the only one that can handle the finances because they had a lot of legal things. So everything is in my name from the very beginning. Money and You has only been in my name. I have the bank accounts, I'm handling it. I'm making sure one of Hollywood's most famous producers right now, Rawson Marshall Thurber, who produces and directed movies like Red Notice, which at the time was the biggest selling movies in Netflix when Red Notice came out about 2 or 3 years ago. That's Marshall Thurber's son. Then the other one, Skyscraper with Dwayne Johnson. That's very, very popular movie. That's also his son. So I'm taking care of them. They're 4 years old, 5 years old. It's like the family, the three children, they're my children. I got to take care of the children and the wife and the husband, Marshall. And it's like, yeah, we're going to handle this. I got it. I got it. And that, you don't think I was scared? You don't think I had energy? You don't think that I was shaking in my boots? And Sandra Ray is rebirthing me, and my other teachers are helping me, and they're like, stay with it, stay with it. I didn't even have Ho'oponopono yet. I didn't have Ho'oponoponos until 6 years later, right? And Ho'oponopono came in at the perfect time. And then I'm making stuff up. It's like, okay. And then after that business school, somebody invited us to Cuba. And it was this crazy group that we ended up, and we were going to meet Fidel Castro, and we were going to meet these people. And it was this, I can't even remember the whole story because I went to Cuba twice, right? And we ended up going to Cuba, and we missed meeting Fidel Castro because we didn't know this. Most people didn't know this, but most people in Cuba, the blacks, the beautiful blacks in Cuba, are all from Ethiopia. And so there was this big thing in Ethiopia where people were dying and people were having this horrible, horrible experience. And Fidel Castro had medical schools. So he was providing doctors for Ethiopia and then providing doctors all over Africa. And so it was like this really interesting story. And it was like, so I missed meeting him then. And it was like by then I had already started making this story up that I wanted to make leaders. And then when we came back, I thought, I am going to meet Fidel Castro, right? And everybody, it was like I would talk about it, I would plan on it. I got my books ready, I got everything ready. And then, of course, it happened on Marshall's birthday, on April 3rd, 1984. I got to meet him. And it was when I met him, not that I was a fan, please, 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 especially my Florida friends, my Cuban friends. I was not a fan, but I was making up stories and things to create to prove to myself that the principles work and that I was on the right path. And then things just kept happening, good things, very negative things, and things that would just kind of build my emotional muscles. And the whole time I was working on self-mastery, the whole time. And I was learning business from these masters. We got Tony Robbins, Kiyosaki came to do Money in You in 1981. Tony, I can't remember whether he did it in 82 or 83, and they were always competing. I remember Robert saying, oh, I want to be bigger than Tony, when Tony got really famous. It was so fun. And they're very big, but in completely different fields. And then we're not aware that we're creating a whole new industry, And Marsha Martin was here a little earlier before. You know, I'm still reviewing, going to EST. I remember when the first landmark was created in November of 1984, where there were 5,000 of us training with Werner Erhard right before he was leaving. I went to Oceanside, and there would be all these people and there would be a trainer in the room, and we were watching. We had never seen anything like it with this big satellite. They paid a fortune to test the first landmark by video. And then you just see all these things evolving. And all the time you're working on yourself, on your deservability, on your leadership. And yes, it's going to be so scary at moments, and it's going to be so wonderful most of the time. And you are going to go through a lot of different things. You are going to, you're going to be afraid of failing. You're going to have learning experiences. We don't fail. We just have learning experiences, and then, we no longer had Bucky. I remember when Bucky died on July 1st, 1983. We go, wait a minute, who's going to go around and telling all these people about making the world work? Who's going to talk about all, people not allow all those children to die of starvation? Who's going to do this? Oh, okay. I guess we're going to have to do it. Bucky's gone. And we were sad. We were happy because he died. Him and his wife didn't know that they had died. So they went to heaven together, and it was like, wow, right? So leadership is not easy, but it is so wonderful. And it doesn't matter if you don't build this whole thing. What matters is that you keep your values and your heart, and you talk to your family, you talk to your friends, and you are going to have to leave some friends because they're not going to believe in you, right? They're not going to think that you did it. My group of friends, the few that were left from all the ones that died from my high school days, one of them, he still does not believe that I met Fidel Castro. He really believes that I hired somebody that looked like him so we could take pictures that looked like that. To this day, my friend Joe doesn't believe that I actually met him. So there will be people near you that you love so much, but they can't see you except how you were in high school or how you were in college or the mistakes that you made. They will remember that. So that's difficult, right? Because you really want the people closest to you to believe everything about you. And so I'm just going to complete today, and we can share a little bit for those of you listening, that leadership is not easy, but it is so groovy and it's so rewarding. So any questions? Anything anybody like to say? I know Jody Bear got very tired. Yes, go ahead. Anybody? Are we ready to go?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to learn. And yeah, I embrace that opportunity to become a leader, learning. And guys, if you're still here, go moneyandyou.com. You need to connect with this amazing community, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jackie?
Yeah, this idea of leadership, I think it comes down to deservability, whether we think we deserve to be leaders, because every human being has these marvelous gifts to give to the world. And it doesn't have to be the whole 8 billion people on the planet. It's the world you're in that you can give these gifts. And I think Money and You is a great place to learn that you can increase your deservability so that you can give your gifts, so you can reach all the people in your world, and also let go of whether they can see you really right now. I was thinking of some people in our class at Money and You who went to Money and You thinking, well, this is going to be a great place to just go do business networking to increase my business. And they didn't really get the transformation of Money and You because not yet. But that's my point. You
Did I jump the gun?
jumped the gun.
Sorry.
What I'm trying to say is that that if somebody doesn't see you right now, that doesn't mean they will never see you. If someone doesn't get their transformation today or at Money and You while it's happening, that doesn't mean they won't get their transformation. It just means that they will get it when they're ready for it. And the same thing is true for us. If we don't feel like we deserve yet, well, we will feel more like we deserve to be leaders perhaps a little later in the future, when we allow ourselves to move through whatever's blocking us. Doria, you've got those magical recovery exercises. And I think that one of the things that people could really benefit from is in your Access to Cash book, the magical recovery exercises. We are working with those. We're just beginning to really work with them. And it's going to be a journey for us. And I think that the journey could be wonderful for anyone else who, like us, wants to increase feelings of deservability so that you can shine, so you can not just thrive in your life, but also give back to the world. Like, Doria, you are such a role model for giving back to the world. You've been doing it for so many decades. And I love, love, love you for all the service you've provided humanity. And not just that, but that you're showing us how to do it too. And I just am so grateful. So thank you.
I have something.
Thank you.
Part of leadership is amplifying your presence, because it's through your presence that you're already giving your gifts. And I learned that because for me, I was doing home care. I was called to be with a lovely woman who needed someone to care for her. And I got to walk with her to the end of her life over the pandemic. And she passed past May in 2024. And I really, through that experience, a lot of things happened. But the main thing for me in this moment to tell you all is that my presence, my way of seeing and experiencing the world and sharing that with her, helped her and her eldest daughter finally connect to the love that they have between them and to the love that they each uniquely are. If I had not been there, her eldest daughter, who's one of our friends, she reported to me that she finally felt loved by her mother when she hadn't felt loved by her mother her entire life, and she was in her 70s. Her mother was in her 90s. So when I say leadership is about learning to amplify your gifts, I mean, you can start with just the world you're in, but you don't know the processional ripple effects that will create. And there is something in you, there is something in me, I know, that is calling me forth to serve and to be satisfied, to be fulfilled, to access my own inner gifts, to be joyously me, to give from my heart, to share, because I am blessed to be led not only by the divine in me, but by the divine in you, Doria, by the divine in you, Laura, by the divine in you, Chris. You all have blessed me in ways you don't even know. And that's powerful. We each have that ability. You're here for a reason. Answer the call. Amplify your gifts. You deserve that. Someone else is going to be able to hear your voice. Doria, you taught me that. There's something uniquely that you will deliver through your words, through your presence, that only you can give, because someone needs to hear it from you. Someone needs to be able to hear it in your words, through your presence, to give your gifts. My mom just pulled up a quote by Bucky. Never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't any need for you and all your uniqueness to be on this planet in the first place, you wouldn't be here. And never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it's always because of one person, and that all the changes that matter in the world come about. So be that one person. That's Bucky's quote.
Buckminster Fuller. Yeah.
May I share two more things?
You can, and then we'll go.
Okay. So you were sharing, Doria, about how leadership also means showing up with courage. Those were not your words, but it reminded me of a song from Girl Scouts. I'm a Gold Award recipient, and may I sing it because it's really short and really beautiful.
Sure, of course.
I have to get out of speaking voice. On my honor, I will try. There's a duty to be done, and I say there's a reason here and a reason above. My honor is to love, and my duty is to try. That
wow.
That song has stuck with me through all of the years of my growing up, because it is true. It is our honor to love, and it is our duty to step up into our leadership, even if it's one step at a time. And it reminded me of another song, because songs and lyrics really move me, and they're part of how I understand the world. So some of you might recognize this. Just put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor. Just put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. That's from the stop motion film. I think it was Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So, but those are songs anchor for me, truths to help us move forward. So I hope those assist whoever is listening too. Thank you for allowing me to share.
It's experiential learning right there.
What a beautiful voice. What a beautiful voice. Anything, Chris Menso, you would like to say before we move on? You are on mute.
I wished I could sing like that. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, what a wonderful 3 hours we spent together. It's great to start the new year like that. And I hope to see as many as possible in Money and You. And much love to everyone.
Thank you. And we have Fridays with Doria next week, 5 p.m. We have Fridays with Doria. So we're going to have a great time. Ava is going to shut us down. Ava, what say you before we go?
Well, Dame Doria, our CEO, Mo Rock, will shut us down with his TEDx talk. Would love to definitely share that as the closing of the Money and Leadership Talks. But I wanted to invite you to, come to Money and You in San Diego, January 15 to 18, because I tell you, coming from where I am and where I see things, there will be more money available to people, and you would want to be positioned. Remember, I dropped your chat, Dame Doria, when you had your interview with Michelle Quevedo at Ignite Your Essence, and I was in the background at that time, and there was something that you said powerfully in that interview. We were in the very beginning of COVID, well, maybe middle of COVID, and you said that everything is shifting right now, and in this moment, you were almost very prophetic in that interview. You said in this moment, everything is moving very, very fast. We're going to look back 5 years from now, and we're 4 years now from that interview. We're going to look back 5 years from now, and we're going to realize that the biggest things have been created in this time, that the greatest things, and there's so much money that's coming in the market right now. And I see that like really moving very, very, very much in speed right now. So I invite people to like prepare for, instead of the doom and gloom that news is saying about closures and layoffs and all of that, there's so much opportunity. There is so much, but it requires you being in the right mindset with the right people in the right room, to be in the other side of the spectrum. Because I love how that interview is powerful, Doria. I still watch it. And so I dropped it in the chat for you guys to be able to look back into Dame Doria's interview 3 years ago, going on 4.
Wow. Do I look the same? Do I look better?
You are younger today, Dame Doria.
Wow, that's great. Yes. All right, so let's finish up with our beautiful Mo. Let's all hang out and watch that beautiful video of Mo. Thank you, everyone. Aloha. Bye-bye. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Aloha. And we're getting Mo, our CEO, the visionary of the Los Angeles Tribune, with this TEDx talk.
Imagine waking up in the morning, grabbing your morning coffee, and opening up your daily newspaper to nothing but headlines that inspire and uplift you. Headlines like the Apollo 11 moon landing and how it inspired people in the 60s, or headlines like the Berlin Wall has collapsed, or even more recently, headlines like the miracle on the Hudson. What would that do to your day when you started off with just positive news? My name is Mo Rock. I'm the CEO of a national newspaper brand, and today, together, we are reimagining journalism. You see, studies reveal that there is a stark contrast between positive news and negative news. In fact, for every piece of news that is solutions-based, that can uplift and inspire you, there are at least 17 that don't. That's 17 to 1. So today, we are actually faced with an epidemic of negative news. We've all heard the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. But why does this have to be the centerpiece of a lot of news production, journalism, and content creation of the world today? There are a lot of incredible journalists that are solutions orientated, and I give a lot of credit to them for doing a great job. And here's the truth that you may not realize, is that everyone in this room is impacting our news. You see, every single time you like a post, every single time you leave a comment on a news article, and every single time you share something, you're not just liking, commenting, and resharing. You're actually casting a vote. You're not only casting a vote for the kind of news you want to consume, but believe it or not, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. You see, I believe that news has the power to not just inform you, but it has the power to mold you. Our world views are largely shaped based on the news and content that we consume. And so I want to encourage folks to remember that the next time that they like, comment, and share. Our organization has one question that it always has to ask before we share anything, print anything, or publish anything. Our editorial team asks this one very simple question. Does the following piece of news empower our audience, or does it disempower our audience? What would the world look like if every content creator, every journalist, every time someone posted a news article, they asked that question? Does the following piece of content empower our audience or disempower our audience? And I want to encourage everyone to participate in this process and help us bridge that gap between 17 negative news articles for every one positive. And let's come together and ultimately make this world a better place. Thank you.